Welcome one, welcome all to episode 232 of the Xbox Expansion Pass, recorded on Saturday, June 28th, 2024. I'm your host, Luke Lohr, the InsipidGhost, joined by my co-host, the intrepid Captain Logan. Alongside the captain today, we are joined by longtime content creator and voice in the Xbox game community, Web Dave of the Gamers Council and Outbreak Gamers. So excited to have you here today, Dave. Today, we are going to be chatting about the expanding Xbox markets as well as Xbox's partnership with Amazon. That and more in the show. Logan, we like to start the show by offering words of kindness, those who have made our gaming weeks better. But first, how are you, my friend?
I am doing good. I have been trying to take time. I've been touching a lot of grass. As you know, we took last weekend off. I went to the lake, had a really fun time there. Definitely figured out that like there's water and like stuff, I'm not used to it. It's not like in games where
all those pirate games didn't
prepare me that well for the lake. So I got a little burnt. And that's something you forget about when you play games that don't have like actual sunlight. But it was good. It was a good time. How about you?
I'm doing well, man. I've been working out with the high school kids coaching soccer. So like I'm feeling stronger. I'm much more sore. I'm running around with 16-year-olds. And at my age, that hurts like can be. But I'm enjoying the results, which is kind of nice. I want to say very quickly to Web Dave, who I was supposed to be on his show, and then I couldn't because I had the con crud, as it were. So excited to have you here, sir. How are you?
I'm doing great, man. I'm excited to be here. It is definitely an honor to be asked, and I greatly appreciate it. And I'm looking forward to today's conversation.
Well, before we have that conversation, we tend to start our show with words of kindness that we like to extend to people in our community. And before we even do that, though, I want you to talk a little bit about Outbreak Gamers and kind of the work you do over there, because I discovered you guys recently. You're in the last 3 months that I'm like, oh my gosh, there's a whole new like podcast group that I really enjoy, people of like minds, really just positive people. And that it's funny when you stumble into those communities because it's like, oh, they've been there the whole time and I just didn't know. So talk to me about Outbreak Gamers, Gamers Council. Just talk to me a little bit about that.
Well, it's all right. So I guess the easiest way to back it up for me would be that long time ago, when podcasting years and years and years in the past, I was actually a program director for a rock radio station. So with that, I had interviews and would do things like that and go to concerts and all the kind of stuff and take winners on show trips and things like that. So it was just that was quote unquote my life for a while was doing the whole radio talk show host type thing, and as well as rock radio DJ, but it financially it didn't quite pay as good as you would think. So yeah, but then I got actually a career opportunity to work for GameStop. So I did that for 12 years and left radio, and then from there store closings and tightening up over the years that the particular mall store that I ran, they closed that one. They gave me an opportunity to continue working for the company, but it was going to be an hour drive away. Oof. And I decided at that time I wasn't going to commute anymore. I was going to be like, I was going to find something else. I worked for US Bank for a long time, which is right up to almost current. It's what I've been doing for like the last 10 years. And then, but at US Bank, I ran into someone who I worked with who was kind of like-minded. And he was really big into, in his youth, he had done an actual like a rock. I won't say rock. I would say it's metal is to be more precise. A metal magazine that he put out himself. It was like a 3 or 4 pager that he put out. So it was all local stuff, but it was all about local bands. And he actually interviewed bands and stuff and put in the work, did the time, had a lot of fun with it. Kind of in his youth thing. Did that for 4 or 5 years, it was kind of popular, I guess, around his in the Florida areas where he lived, And so we got to talking. We thought, man, this YouTube stuff is, maybe we should try a podcast. So that's what we did. We started a podcast, and it's the show that I originally did, which I do occasionally still, is Escape Pod on my channel. And then from there, with the pandemic and all that kind of stuff that happened, it was just kind of like, we were moved from the office to work from home, when you were in an office with like 2,000 people, and then and then you're like, here's your laptop, hit the road. Of course, and it was pretty much, that fast, and got settled in. And then it was kind of like in between the I guess, at work, it's a work environment, it's, people there and all the, travel and stuff. But at home, you were able to listen to other things while while you did your work. So,
Right.
I stumbled across Mr. Boomstick, and,
Mhm.
I guess my first thing was to want to listen to, like, like the classics, I guess you would call them, I guess, IGN and things like that. But they just weren't really reaching me as far as the
Sure.
some of the talk and stuff, because I was just like, I really like this Xbox thing, and they're trashing it. And I was like, that, so I tried to find like-minded. I know, shock. So I
What?
tried to find some kind of like-minded, type,
Right.
like you said, you find people that, something that interests you, or more of a narrow-minded, your philosophy on gaming.
Mhm.
And that's when I found like Mr. Boomstick, and then from there is the Iron Lords, and and just so many other amazing content providers, and then Mr. Boomstick asked me one day to guest, and then I ended up being on 2 of his shows for over a year.
Mhm.
So, which I really enjoyed a lot. And I love Mr. Boomstick, but then and then with that, I was able to kind of do my own thing. I started the
Sure.
interview process. So I started interviewing content creators, even like, Colt Eastwood, Dealer,
Mhm.
Randall Thor 19, Kay Asante, King David, just
Yeah.
so many other amazing content, providers out there. And hopefully one of these days, I'd like to interview as well, as well as Logan. We'll talk about that later. But and that's for the Outbreak Gamers. So that's and then with that, doing that kind of interviews for us, it was about an hour long, just dropped recordings. I finally decided, I want to do my like a live show. And we picked Sundays, and we did it. And I found a co-host in Retry, and it's just worked out really well. And our numbers have grown enough that we've really started to reach out there. And that's kind of a catch-all.
Mhm.
Like I said, I play all consoles, but I'm really a big fan of the Xbox ecosystem. So that's really kind of where I lean toward. But when it comes down to it, I'm still just a gamer and love playing games, and will play on anything. Is that
Well,
too
then
long of an explanation?
No, that's perfect, man. And you're in the right place because play all consoles, but love Xbox is kind of our mantra as well, because we do enjoy gaming in so many places, but Xbox is our console of choice. And so that's
Excellent.
awesome to hear. And I should say
True.
console. Maybe I should say market or ecosystem of
Ecosystem,
choice.
that probably better.
Platform.
Yep.
It's probably
There you go. That works.
the build
Yeah,
it future proofing there, future
Ecosystem.
proofing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Well, as I kind of let in with,
Nope.
we like to start this. Oh, I'm
Nope.
sorry. Are you, what?
I have follow-up questions, sir.
Oh, he has follow.
Go
I
right ahead.
apologize. Go right ahead,
Man.
there, Captain.
Okay.
Right.
Dave, I got 2 questions for you. What is one band that you found recently in the rock and metal industry, and one that you'd recommend that people younger probably haven't heard of?
Ooh.
Putting him on the spot.
I know.
Yeah, no. I mean,
and the reason for it is because I love that he was a rock DJ.
Yeah, thanks.
Get that kind of
I probably, I guess, my current favorite band, to be honest, because I'm an old guy. So and even then they've been around now quite a while. Is Shinedown. And I just,
nice.
Man, they put out some really good music, and
Still doing
constantly
good? Still doing good music.
Yes, still to this day. Yeah. In fact, and I've seen them 5 times in concert. And met the band a few times in person. Super nice guys. Really, really cool. I was able to actually get my my kids for one of their birthdays. We all went, and then they were super gracious once they found out that it was his birthday.
Mhm.
They were like, came from like back behind the little thing, and they were like coming all around and let's pose for pictures and let's, and really got into, so that was even the people that appreciate their fans is means a lot to me, because I've interviewed, like I said, a lot of I don't want to say, like I'm an old guy, but I am old. So I've been around a long time, so and in the heyday, the old, I guess one of my favorite bands is and this is, they were more 80s, I guess, but it would be like Motley Crue, and I know that they kind of have their ups and downs, and recently the kind of the fallout with Mick is not exactly great, but I still appreciate each and every one of them. Nikki Sixx, super nice, and I still have it somewhere. I'm gonna have to try and dig it up, because a lot of people have asked me to put it up on our, because I was just an audio version, but I was lucky enough when I was back in the day, I was able to interview Vince Neil, and
nice.
it was the interview talking about his golf tournament that he had for,
of course,
his charity for his daughter that had passed, and it was supposed to be a strictly like a 3-minute interview talking about the event coming up, and ended up so almost over a 20-minute segment. He broke down, and I was like, I'm not cutting away, and we just went with it, and it was really, really good, probably the best work I've ever done. And a lot of people are like, what? But it was pretty awesome. Still proud of that moment, and afterwards when we were done, thinking, because I never lead a guest. I just let them go where they want to go, and I just kind of, so we basically held hands through the interview and got through it. And afterwards, he said it was very therapeutic and he enjoyed it, and I've talked to him 2 or 3 times since then. So he's always very nice to me, even though they're wild and crazy rockers, but still a good guy. So,
that's really cool.
Anything else?
Have you heard of the band Vended?
I have not.
I would recommend checking them out, especially if you're into Slipknot. Very much in the same way that Rob Zombie's boy Spider went off to make Power Man 5000.
Yeah.
Slipknot's lead went off and made a kid, and then that kid grew up and made Vended. So I would check them out if you're looking for some new rock or metal.
Excellent. Maybe you could put that in the private chat later, so I could so I'll make sure they get the spelling right, and I'll dig into it, man. Thanks. I always appreciate music. Love music.
Luke, if you want to do this show or something, like you can
all right.
on.
Hey, buddy.
I was learning from it. I was like, this is interesting. I was fascinated. That's dope.
Looks like I'm never having this guy on again. I'm sorry.
False. Untrue. Thoroughly enjoy it. Like I said, like mind gamers, and I knew what you guys were talking about, so that was fun.
Hey.
So guys, we do like to start the show by offering words of kindness to those who have made our gaming weeks better. And this week I wanted to offer words of kindness to one Sean Labrie. I met Sean in LA, and he is just a masterclass when it comes to like overlays, backgrounds, sound design, visual design, that kind of stuff. Helps out a lot of different content creators, and super kind gentleman. But I had never met him, so I met him in LA, and then just chatting via DMs the last few days. He is going to be helping me set up new backgrounds so I can get a cleaner loop going, new overlays for the visual part of the show. And I always like to let our channel members and patrons and super chatters know where your funds are going. That's going towards Sean Labrie right now, who's helping kind of build out and up our visual aesthetic for XEP, which is something I'm really excited to do. So I really wanted to just shout out Sean and let him know I appreciate him. It was encouraging and exciting to know that he is going to be building that stuff for us, because, kind of to Web Dave's point, is like, as you grow, so too do like the other aspects of the show. You got to make sure the planning gets different. The notes are different. The visuals are different. And so I'm excited to kind of see what he comes up with. And that's who I wanted to give my words of kindness to. Logan, how about you, bud?
I wanted to shout out my community. I recently, last weekend was supposed to be our Patreon episode. Totally slipped my mind because I have not been paying attention to the month. had to reschedule to this weekend. So later today, I'll be recording with them. But last episode, I put out an episode that was later than it usually is. And I went into why. So for those, and many of you guys around here may have known, like I haven't been doing well. I haven't really been like very, very active in the community. And that's because I'm going through a separation right now. So 13 years with my ex, 11 years married. It's been a real struggle. So with them and releasing this episode, I probably put like 30 minutes into the episode, just me talking about what's been going on to give them an idea about why I've been so absent. And that was really kind of tough because I haven't really talked about that anywhere. So them coming out with support really meant the world to me. Getting messages from them all week, honestly, just reassuring me that they understand, like, if I need to slow down, take a break, stop the podcast altogether, they support it. They just want to make sure that I'm in a good spot. So that really hit me in the feels this week. And it was unsolicited kindness that I just really needed this week. So it was nice to get that. And I feel energized by that. And by doing today's episode to kind of get back into gaming and try and get that balance that I've been hunting for between going out, building a social network, trying to, rebuild my life,
right,
on top of going back and still sticking with games. So that's been really, really nice to have.
I'm proud of you and excited that you were able to share that, because I know that's been hard, and there's no easy road on that one. It's not going to be easy. It's never going to be fun.
Yeah.
But sharing that and getting that out there, I think, is healthy, and I'm really proud of you for that, man.
You've been with me since it started in helping me on almost a daily basis.
That's what friends do, brother.
Yeah.
Always. Well, Web Dave, do you have any words of kindness of people that you would like to shout out?
Sure. First, want to say, been there, done that, Logan. Things do get better, and that's the only thing I can tell you. Because when my very first wife and I be separated, it was like, to me, it was the end of the world. Found myself in a fetal position in a bed at my parents' house, going, right? I can't believe she left me. Yeah. to like 3 years later, being like, oh my God, this woman I just met is absolutely amazing, and I'm still with her almost 30 years later. So,
wow.
And even my first wife, I'll have to say, because of that journey I went through with her, I have my son, who's also named Logan.
Oh,
and
nice.
and I wouldn't change a thing, because he's everything to me. So anyway,
awesome.
so the journey will get you there. And then when you were talking about John, pronounce his last name for me.
Oh gosh, I was okay. I said Labrie.
See, and I thought it was Labrie. But I
got
don't know.
me.
When you said it first, I was like, "Wait, that sounds familiar." I was like, "Oh wait," but it may or may not be. Well, just as all right. So there's my avatar that he created.
Very cool.
So yeah, so he does all the work for us as well, including our intro and outro video. So he is absolutely amazing. So yeah, I second and third that on Sean. We'll just call him Sean. He is an amazing artist, and very, very easy to work with, and very affordable too. If you're out there and interested, he's a good guy to work with. I would say, you know what, I'm gonna, who kind of gave me my start in the gaming podcast would be Mr. Boomstick XL. Then Double Barrel Gaming. I got one of his hats. Oh, there you go, and one of his shirts. But Mr. Boomstick XL, I wouldn't be where I am in the content creating world without Mr. Boomstick. So Craig, this is his real name. Super nice guy. Always, he has a heart on his sleeve. Huh? He does. I know. Shocker.
I always just referred to him as Mr. Boomstick.
There you go. And some people, and some people don't know that my real first name is David.
Whoa!
I know.
Shocks here.
So, but yeah, that would be my shout out.
There you go. I love it. I love it. Well, gents, what do you say we talk about some video games? How about that?
Can we?
What are you guys thinking?
Are we talking actual video games, or are we talking news around video games? Because I have not been playing much.
No,
So
we're
if
going to talk about
talking
news to start,
Okay.
and then we'll talk in the back half. I was so excited in a way that I did not expect to be for very silly reasons this week when I saw that Xbox and Amazon were announcing a partnership. And I was taken aback a bit by my own reaction, because what Xbox announced is that as of now, in the future, Xbox Cloud Gaming is coming to Amazon Fire Stick. And that's a really interesting way to kind of get their product out there, their ecosystem out there. We talked a lot about Xbox Keystone at various points over the last 2 years in many ways. And Keystone?
Maybe Keystone. I feel like we've been talking about it since like just after launch.
You know what? I think you're right.
It feels like forever, dude.
You are right, actually. In my mind, I was,
because we had the shelf.
True.
Remember, we had the shelf with like Phil Spencer's like, oh, what's that? That's Keystone. That's got to be Keystone.
Right.
Well, Logan, I tell you, it's a good thing we're not looking for something on your shelf.
Yeah,
good.
Dude.
Trying to pick out something.
I hide everything. You don't want to know everything. If you look too closely, you're gonna get scared. And I exercise
like
caution.
I love it, man. The background looks amazing.
Thank you. I'm gonna have to tear it all down because I'm gonna have to rent out this room and move my office into my room. Let's not go.
Here we go. Oh, here we are. We're trauma dumping.
Bringing it back. Sorry.
Wait, Dave, be careful.
He hit the nerve.
So I thought it was interesting because we've been talking about Keystone for years now. See that broad-based response. Years now we've been talking about Keystone, and it was abandoned by Xbox, which I think a lot of people lamented. They were interested in a cloud gaming box that you could just put anywhere, even though, for the record, your Series S can do that, which I thought was interesting. And now available on a $40 Amazon stick, you can get the Xbox app. This is a natural extension of what the vision of Keystone would have been, a natural extension of the Samsung app that exists on Samsung devices, or certain Samsung TVs, I should say. It's really kind of interesting to see that now Xbox is finding new ways to get to new markets, and it's all been part of their plan. If you look up, the dominoes line up perfectly, and yet I was still surprised, and I gotta admit, kind of excited by it in a way that I would never have thought that I would be excited by an Amazon Xbox partnership. What about you guys?
Well, I mean, like, you know, Microsoft making these deals shows just how much power they have in the tech industry, right? Like, they've been able to push Apple with the help of Epic to try and open up the markets so that they can put their own app. So how long before, you know, you can get the Xbox Game Pass app on your Apple TV? You know, that's kind of where I've been saying, like, they should be trying to get their store front onto Apple TV devices, because that's what I think are the opponent to the Fire Stick. You know, I don't think anyone's still got a Google Chromecast. Get out of here. What the hell? No,
I don't necessarily use them.
Yeah. Okay. Defense. Okay. All right. It's getting defensive.
Hey, shout out real quick to our new channel member, Web Dave. I like this guy. Supporting the show, helping us get new backgrounds. Thank you.
No, I think this is awesome. I think the fact that they were able to work out with Amazon to get Fire devices to be able to have access to the Game Pass library, that's going to be huge going forward, because it's no longer going to be tied to Samsung TVs like we talked about, because that was always kind of like how come Samsung's getting this, and what are they going to start shipping Samsung TVs with Xbox controllers? It's like, well, you know, now you have an Amazon stick. You don't, if you're going to, I think Joseph Moran mentioned it on Twitter, which is where it sparked the idea that I was like, oh yeah, that does make sense. You no longer have to drag your Series S around if you don't want to, or have to burn your laptop or your phone battery if you don't want to. You can now have a small little Amazon Fire Stick and use that like on the go with a controller to be able to get access to your games. You know, I bought one of the Logitech G Clouds because I wanted to have that access. I also wanted to be able to stream directly from my console too. And knowing that I can have like a little Amazon Fire Stick, and, you know, granted I have Amazon Prime, so I get access to all the movies, TV shows anyway, built-in value, easy. Easy win.
Mm-hmm. I think the cool part is that, and I think actually Kath Games in chat kind of says it. Keystone was a new product that people have to buy into. Amazon already has 200 million users that kind of equate to 200 million potential customers to just click on Xbox and go. And that to me is the biggest benefit. And I think maybe 5 years ago when xCloud first was kind of making the big rounds, actually it's been a little longer than that, but when it was kind of making the full on rounds, people were really trying it out. Latency was a big issue. So you could play something like Gears Tactics and be quite comfortable, but trying to play, a Souls like or a Call of Duty was just not a thing. Guys, this last 2 weeks, I was visiting my in-laws, again, family time. We took time off, and I was playing Lords of the Fallen on my phone with my backbone attached and doing just fine. Really enjoying it. Latency was not an issue, and that was really, really encouraging to me. So when I see that, that $40 stick just plugs in, you're not lugging around even the comfortable Series S. The sky's the limit. Dave, what did you think?
Well, I definitely digging the idea that that's coming out, and I agree with you. It's so the Keystone I thought was a great idea, and this made so much more sense because of the cost and marketing and developing a new device and having something that's an existing product that has. I have a couple of Fire Sticks laying around here. I have I think my other studio. I think I have a quote unquote Fire Stick TV. Has it built into it. So yeah, that's it makes sense and it's smart. And the more places that they can get the Xbox ecosystem in front of, the better we all are, because it's going to continue to grow the brand, and it'll set us up for the world domination. I mean, the global first place marketing. But yeah, no, it's a great product, and with everything they've got coming together, it's a win all the way around, and especially for gamers of all kinds, all ages, all sizes, and with that too, in the future, I see them, like games like Candy Crush that they now own, can also be integrated into Game Pass, so that so you have even a more diverse group of people that are playing. Cause my wife, she loves those kind of games, but she, because 3D games make her nauseous. They just do. But it's just just the way it is. So being able to have these kind of choices with the biggest game every year, Call of Duty, all the way down to something like Candy Crush, as far as your level of skill, it's fantastic, and the price is right, and I'm just ready. I'm ready for family plan. That's what we really need. When that hits,
I think a lot of people are waiting for that one. The potential to me of being able to just jump in on an Amazon app or a Fire Stick or whatnot really comes by way of like looking at the Fallout effect. If you look at how well the Fallout show was received, if you're on Amazon and then you can just click play Fallout now, like an Xbox icon next to the show or in the options or whatnot, the ability to just click from the show Fallout over into the game Fallout, or a hub that has them, or somehow promote the games next to the shows and vice versa. That to me is what entices Amazon and Xbox to link up, whereas they were rivals several years ago. Luna, being a competing cloud gaming service and whatnot. Like, I think there's a lot of potential there, and it was likely the success of Fallout that really pushed or advanced conversations on this one. Because if PlayStation could have capitalized on The Last of Us in even more ways than they already did, that would have benefited them greatly. For Amazon to be able to do that with Fallout, for them to be able to do that with some of their upcoming game properties, which for the life of me, I cannot remember which one it is. It's not Gears, because that's Netflix.
If Sony only had Factions coming out.
Ouch. Man.
Luke, yeah. I am very confused by this not capitalizing on The Last of Us. Did we not just see 2 remakes of games that came out in the last decade sold at full price?
I said to the extent that they did, and more, like the idea that if you could have just clicked over and clicked buy in app, that would have advanced it even more. But that is why they did 14 remakes.
They want you to buy the console. They want you to buy the game. They don't want you to just be able to like boop, right over there. No, no.
Is that where you're wanting me to bring in? Hold on, I gotta bring it up. Is that where you wanted me to bring this in?
This is
This
you
is
mean
your.
sorry. Yeah, this is where I was thinking like this might be a good time for us to remember that the PlayStation Portal is a thing for streaming your games over there, so you could watch your TV show on Max and have your PlayStation Portal in your hand as you're slowly moving through the world at the same rate that the show is, except for the strawberry episode, which was really fantastic.
Can I add a soundbite to that?
Let's hear it.
Can you bring back up your
Oh
your
yeah,
meme?
easy.
Is it
Gotcha.
emotional? Damn, is it that one?
No, this one.
Insert cash or select payment type.
That's
well
Sony's
played.
mantra. Just saying.
It is their mantra. It is their mantra. And I got to tell you, man, after watching what's happening with PSVR 2, I don't hear about the portal anywhere. Like that, I am so wary on buying PlayStation hardware, like just anything they do, because as great as that library is, they just drop hardware so quickly.
It's so sad.
Quickly.
I'm so bummed.
I gotta grab something. I'll be right back.
I don't want to give up my PSVR 2 because I really do love Beat Saber. But I'm so tempted to freaking sell that thing and buy like a Meta, because as much as I hate Facebook, I'm getting back into it for other reasons. And if I can like just, I'm really bummed about Sony doing stuff like this because it's sad. So when I see actions like Xbox and actually this kind of, cause I know you wanted to talk about, marketplaces and stuff, bringing up the PS Portal, I wanted to talk to you about your feelings, and we'll have to round about on this when Dave comes back. But there was this idea that I had for, not my idea, but this desire to have Xbox make their own handheld game system, right? And we're seeing like whispers of that in the marketplace.
Yeah, Phil can't stop talking about it.
So I want to know if they're killing Keystone and they're just porting Xbox Game Pass app to Samsung TVs, now to Amazon Fire Sticks, does this lend more credence to them just wanting to put stuff on handhelds and not make their own handheld? Or do they see the value in having hardware centered around their own handheld at this point? Because Phil's talking about, loving his Steam Deck and loving his Asus ROG, having those handhelds. And, we're hearing the rumblings of wanting to get their own in the marketplace. And I would love it because it would be great. But, what's the difference between them doing their own handheld, but then also going out and saying, like, we're going to put our game, our cloud gaming app on other devices, other hardware and stuff like that. Does it feel like they're kind of talking out of both sides of their mouth, or is this like the appropriate way to kind of give the best of both worlds?
I feel like they're trying to have the best of both worlds. Oh, what you doing there, Dave? What's happening? You're muted.
I'm just go ahead. I can do things at once.
Oh, okay. I apologize. I didn't want to interrupt you. It's very tough to figure out. Oh, I see. What are you doing, Logan?
What
you doing?
This is nothing. This is just my little handheld streaming device that I use for Xbox games.
Oh, that's what's great. One's holding a PlayStation Portal, the other one's holding a ROG Ally. Guys, it looks like you both love portable gaming, and you both got the device that lets you do it properly, perfectly, with no issues whatsoever. Would either of you like to expound?
Actually, Dave, do you have something you want to jump into? I've been talking a lot.
No, you're great. The only thing I would add to what you said, and I 1000% agree, is that the handheld device, we know it is in the works from Jez Gordon, and I believe that his research on this is pretty sound, and I think that it's definitely needed. I think that if anything, that the Switch has shown, especially in the Japanese market, it's the handheld is king over there, because in Japan, the number one gaming system isn't a PlayStation, it's a Switch from Nintendo. and it's big over there because of the ability to play portable and go. And their next gen system is going to be big. And I think that with the ability to have a handheld Microsoft system, however it ends up being, I know there's still some things. If it even has the ability to in the actual console handheld device, whether it's dockable like the Switch, or if it has the ability to, his buddy Gabe, let's click on and we can also play our Steam games on this. If that kind of thing happens, dude, it's game over, because the library and the ability to play more places and more games all on one device natively is big. And Jez Gordon, I think just the other day, reiterated that by the end of this year, they're planning on having the official full announcement that there will be your own games. Like I have Elden Ring that I purchased digitally for my Xbox, but if I can put it on my handheld device, obviously not this, but on a handheld device, and play it there natively on the go, it's a big game.
I'll confirm that. I've also heard that same thing, not from Jez. So yeah, that's coming soon. That's coming real soon, and that needs to happen.
Yes.
You own the game, and like you're trying to push cloud gaming, and you have a mobile device, and you are looking at getting on Fire Sticks. You need to give people a way to access more than just your curated list, and not that passively brings up the big juggernaut. The reason you bought Activision Blizzard was to get the biggest properties in the world: Candy Crush, Warcraft, Call of Duty, and that those games need to be available in your cloud gaming apps, in your owned apps. You have to be able to access them via the cloud to get the most out of it. So it needs to happen sooner than later, ahead of this holiday, ahead of Black Ops 6, like this big juggernaut franchise where you're going to have advertising rolling out. Like even in Modern Warfare 3 right now, you're getting ads for Call of Duty 6. They changed the color scheme, Call of Duty Black Ops 6. So like you have to get that owned element out there, and that's important. So I hope that happens sooner rather than later.
Yeah, 100%. That's something that I think we've been looking forward to. If we're going to have this all digital future, if they're going to continue to push all these games, then my digital locker needs to be as like accessible as being able to put a disc in a console and actually boot it up that way. That's something that we haven't had in a very long time. Like, you can use that with the old games, but even older games like 360 games, even OG Xbox games, still go and just download the store version after it authenticates from the disc. You're not ever really like playing. You can install from the disc, but there's usually patches. So if we're going to go all digital, we need to be able to have expanded rights beyond just being able to have full access to our library. We really need to be able to have a way to sell our games and be able to purchase games and just have more control over those digital goods if we're going to be buying into that stuff. Because that's something that I'm okay with, having a digital library, as long as I can actually do something. Because there's some games like I play them, I beat them, I want to gift them, I want to get rid of them. I don't necessarily, I want to be able to, like Audible does a great job of allowing you to like buy credits, use credits, and then return books if you don't like them. If in the time frame doesn't really factor into that, but they give you a credit back and you can just use that credit down. Now, granted, a lot of the, you're paying an X price for that, but Nintendo also has things like vouchers. Like you can buy 2 vouchers for any game for $100. And if you get 2 $60, $70 games, you're getting a value out of that. Those vouchers can be used on a certain number of games, typically their first party stuff, but the systems are slowly migrating to a place where if they want to go with this, that we'll be able to have full control over our content, which is something that I think needs to happen if they're going to start pushing cloud gaming more and more and more.
Tangentially related to that, and we can come back to cloud gaming, but I did want, you mentioned the word vouchers, and it made me think Forza Horizon 4 is being delisted
yeah.
From the Xbox store on December, I want to say 15th, and if you bought DLC but played it on Game Pass, Xbox is sending you a token, a voucher for it, which I thought is an interesting. This is new territory because Xbox's promise has always been Game Pass, first party games. You've got the game, there you go. But then if you bought content in it and it goes away as delisted by way of licensing, what do? They're just giving people that game, which I thought was an interesting way to handle it. A voucher system that they're on some level willing to do, but that's new territory. The idea of delisting an Xbox first party game after having that subscription service that you've bought DLC for, like the promise of it is interesting. And so I just noted that they were just giving the game to those people, which I thought was the right thing to do.
Yeah,
because the promise of Game Pass.
They don't have like a good alternative, right?
No,
like
there isn't one, and you got to avoid legal issues. But also, like, figure it out with these cars. Like, figure it out. Like, if I watch The Italian Job and I see the Mini Cooper from 2002, like, come on, they're not delisting the movies over that stuff. Figure it out.
The problem really does come down to where, like, how much legality they have in the exercised use of it, and there's all that licensing BS. It's like why we haven't had GoldenEye for 30 friggin' years, because so many people own parts of the rights to the Bond franchise and the development of the movies as well as the games. And it's like trying to get, it's why Disney just buys companies because they don't want to bother with all the legality. They're like, we want to have access to this. And they're like, okay, well, how do you do that? And it's like, well, why don't we just buy Marvel? And they're like, okay, we'll just buy. And same thing with Microsoft. They're like, we want to stop having to deal with all these exclusivity deals that Sony has with all of the Call of Duty games, because it's really hurting our sales as well. What should we do? We could just buy Activision. Oh, okay. Let's just do that.
I'm ready for them to start slinging that weight and that hammer around a bit more. Like, I need for Xbox to start commanding more, because when I see things like Marvel vs. Capcom not coming to Xbox and other franchises skipping Xbox or whatnot, like, I need that weight to be thrown around. You spent the money, you're building the brand, make it happen. Like, reward the customers that are there for you. I think we need to see more of, like, if in Black Ops 6, if you boot up Black Ops 6 and you don't have the ability to play as Chief or Marcus and you're not cross promoting, what are you doing? Why'd you do it? Like, this isn't even like a soapbox element of cross. Why are you not pushing your brand to more people?
Well, I think part of that is the cross pollination puts strain on the teams that are currently working on those. Like, that's an additional thing that they have to figure out how to allocate time. They may not have the time to be able to do that, and that I don't want to skip over the shout outs or anything, but that kind of goes into one of our other topics about them pushing games to come out so quickly that we're getting these flawed states at launch. And you start throwing.
Bring that up.
Okay, so we've been seeing that. I'm trying to find out where it's actually at, because I saw that you put it in the notes and stuff. Where did I have
smaller
that?
topics?
Oh, okay. So smaller topics. So Kerry Patel confirmed that Avowed has a similar length and scope to games like Outer Worlds. Very much in line with what I was expecting, knowing how Obsidian operates. They've got two major teams and a few smaller teams that kind of do little projects and stuff, and that's where we get things like Grounded. But looking at the two major teams that are currently working on Outer Worlds 2 and Avowed, it's safe to assume that having a smaller game will, one, be something that more people will actually finish, and two, that it doesn't necessarily lock up a studio on one project for so long that it's got to be like a GTA 6 for them to be able to hit. One of the problems that comes with that is for those larger games, so like Starfield or Redfall, when you don't give them enough time and you start like seeing that like, okay, well, the launch date's coming up, how are we doing? They're like, it's not looking good. We gotta delay. And they're like, all right, we'll give you another year, but then it has to come out. If they don't make that year and it comes out in a bad state, it's like, it's gonna hurt. It's going to hurt the actual review scores for the games, and people aren't going to see the quality because the quality never had the opportunity to actually do it. So seeing, and I feel like I'm losing like where I was going or where I was coming from.
Just
with
the
this.
premise of like trying to get smaller, faster experiences comes at the expense of critical review scores at times.
Yeah,
And there is something to that. I don't know that it's always the same, but there
No.
is a logic in there.
So I don't know, Dave, if this is something that resonates with you, where it feels like Xbox is pushing games to come out sooner than they really ought to, and because of that, we're seeing things like Redfall, we're seeing things with like Forza Motorsport, with Starfield, and it's like we're getting these 60 frames per second patches eventually for the console, but not at launch.
I actually am kind of leaning to just the opposite.
Oh,
I
okay.
think that they are actually. I mean, I know you have what you highlighted, what you called out is for sure, but Redfall, that was more of a deception, and that's why they've had some major changes in the studio. That the particular people that were working on it, they originally didn't want to do that particular game, so they worked on it and they came up with the things, and then once. And they even said at one point that they were thinking or hoping that once Microsoft bought them, that they would cancel the game and move on, so they could go on another project, because that's not really what they wanted to work on. Well, at least they did stick it out and get it to where it's in its final state. But yeah, they had to issue some I guess some money back. A lot of people got that had bought the collector's edition type thing. So I don't. But I definitely see your point. But I think, and that was one of the big things that you remember that interview that Phil had like the next day when he was under the gun, and he's like, we're going to do a better job of being in. I think that's why they had some of the shakeups, and like Matt Booty's now got his boot on the neck as far as in his hands more on everything they need to do, and one of the reasons why he kind of split things up and made Sarah now president, it gives them a more some of the pressure is off of just one person to where they can actually get in and get things figured out more. So I think in the future, I think it's because Phil would rather give you more time, and with Todd with the Starfield, before that was already well in the works before they got started, as far as when they got purchased. I mean, so that they were under the old mindset of get it out, get it going, we'll fix it later, because that was Bethesda's way. Remember, it's Bugthesda was kind of their mantra for a long time. So I feel like going forward, I feel like that'll be a lot, I guess will be a lot different, I think, in the future. But no, you're definitely correct as far as the way things have happened. But I think in the future, I think they really have, and that's why you don't hear like dates now, like Indiana Jones. We have a year, but we don't have an exact date.
I'm okay with that, by the way. I like no dates. Don't give me a date if you're gonna have to move it 2 weeks, 3 weeks. That's an extra news story we don't need. Just when you're ready, say it.
Yeah.
Yep. So, but that's my thoughts.
So and just kind of follow up with that, then do you feel like games going forward beyond Starfield and Forza Motorsport, which were kind of the in progress things, like do you think that games, like, are they going to start launching games with 60 FPS modes alongside the standard 30 that they have been doing? Because it seems like that's what a lot of the gamers want. That's been some of the major criticisms. They've said that we can't do that, and then 6 months later they're able to figure it out.
Right. I guess the biggest, they can't do that and meet this deadline is what they don't tell you. So a lot of the things are possible, and the game is out and it's good. All right. So I guess a good example for giving them the time would be Hellblade 2.
Love that game.
There's no bugs in that
Hellblade
game.
2.
Have you know anybody talk about the bugs this, bug that?
Never.
No bugs. Okay. So the only downside was maybe the frame rate. And I think over time we'll get that as they continue to put some more resources into it, and maybe some whatever improvements over time. But I think this last gen, I think that there was or current gen we're on now, I should say, A lot of promises. Even Sony had the 8K taken off the box because it really wasn't quite as relevant. And there's 4K on the Xbox, but the promise of 4K 60 is it's there, and there's some games that can do it. You can play Halo at 120 frames, which is great. Looks absolutely fantastic. But I just think that the next thing that, like Sarah Bond was talking about, the next thing that they're working on, I think that the next generation, I think they're really gonna the finally gonna get to the point where they have the bar where they want it, to where they have the actual machine to make it to where it's not hard to hit those pinnacles or those benchmarks that they want, because the ability of the console is going to be able to do it. And with that said, we're talking about going streaming and all this kind of stuff for the future. They spend a lot of money switching out a lot of the online, I guess. They're talking about Xbox Series X are out on the servers, because they wanted to make sure that it could run the game as best they could for the cloud part. And I think that there's going to be some tweaks, improvements, and it continues to, every year it's going to get better. Like Luke, you talked about earlier, the more we're in to the online and streaming, it's going to do nothing but get better. There's places in the world now where you can't even still connect. You still can't connect. Thank goodness for Starlink. Those, where it really puts it just about anywhere. But so it kind of went off on a rant there. Sorry, but to get back to the focus, I think that the future, the next Xbox, as far as those are gonna, it's gonna be a lot easier for them to meet those goals, and it'll be a secondary thing. And people saying, well, the S is holding us back, and it's not really the case, because if you look at the console, kind of like you do a gaming PC, there's as Doc Dark would say, there's levels to it. You can actually, you don't have to have all the graphics turned up on a PC and still get a great game. You can turn some things down, the shaders and some of the things that that are taxing to the particular game on your system. And I think those kind of things are where it's going in the future. Not that the Xbox is a PC. Well, the Xbox and the PlayStation are PCs. They really are, when it comes down to it. If compared to what they used to be in the past, a more dedicated, integrated type of proprietary type systems, and now it's like there's a lot of difference between this a PlayStation 5 and an Xbox. There's definitely some differences, but as far as like able to make a game for one system or the other, it's a lot easier for them to do that, to do crossovers for different, like EA and third party type companies. So
I do want to come back to this hardware conversation, but Abdel in chat, and then kind of related to our poll, in the poll I put in, do you prefer smaller experiences, larger experiences? Smaller, like Outer Worlds, Hellblade style experiences, or the larger Halo Infinite, Starfield style? It's skewing about even there in that poll. But Abdel in chat, and it's good to see you, Abdel, saying that, like, we used to get Gears of War in 2006 and Gears 2 3 years later. We used to see a faster cadence of games. And now, because of the demands of a lot of this stuff, no, it's not untrue. It's totally true, Logan.
Yeah, and there's a reason for it. It's called crunch.
Get to work, devs. I want my games.
Yeah,
Get to work. No,
we preached about not crunching, and then we're like, we used to get games 2 years apart. It's like, yeah, we killed people's lives for that.
All I'm saying, no, but there is a reality there in a business and customer. You have to find a way to eliminate bottlenecks and get product out faster, right? And that's what Xbox has been striving to do with this, one big pillar game per quarter, going for justifying your subscription to Game Pass, justifying your purchase of the box, et cetera, et cetera. And I think that's kind of the question is, if you have smaller experiences, will you get those games faster? Because Hellblade 2 took 6 years to make.
And it's 8 hours long.
And it's 8 hours long. I still think that game's above a 9. I'm over anybody that's pretending Hellblade 2 is not amazing. It's very silly to nitpick Hellblade 2. That game is incredible. But getting games faster is something that needs to happen, right? That does need to happen in order to run a successful business. I just don't see a way around it in order to keep your brand alive. And I think that's kind of the bigger question is, where do we stand on the idea of wanting shorter games at a faster pace, or do we want more extensive, bigger breadth games, and knowing we have to wait for them? Because I'm of the mind that shorter games, more digestible, get content for it faster, get them out faster. To me, that's a better thing to happen. I shouldn't have to wait a whole generation per one franchise game. That is kind of where I would stand on that front. But also get to work, crunch away.
I think it's possible that you can have both. I think the difference being is that you have to determine what studios are going to be the ones that build the broader experience, the bigger experience, and which ones are you going to have like the smaller experience. Obsidian is one of the few studios that has been able to do both. They've been able to have games like Outer Worlds and also Grounded. And they've also been able to do, they're working on Avowed now. There's very easily a chance that they've got another smaller game in the hopper that they're kicking around, while other teams are kind of playing with different ideas. It's not to say that you shouldn't go one way or the other, because I think you possibly could. I mean, look at Ubisoft. They build the same game effectively in different franchises all the time, and they have like a market. They have an idea of how to work that market as well too. So it's not that you can't go one or the other, but having them both is going to be something that appeals to everyone. I think the difference here is that if you're going to have shorter, smaller experiences that come out, don't expect those in 3 years. Expect them in 5 years, have them be smaller, and have them be super polished. Because right now we're getting smaller experiences that are still broken, that still come without the base options that any other first party or PlayStation game comes with. They all Sony games come out with, the first party games, they have like a 30 FPS mode, 1080, 1440p, whatever. They have a 60 that has like the 60 frames per second, 120, or the 30 with 4K. They've worked out like how to get that plus ray tracing into their games. Xbox doesn't allow their developers to be able to have that kind of quality built into their games because of the cadence that they're dictating. Microsoft is telling them when these games need to come out. It's all based on whenever it fits in with Game Pass. When is it getting close to launch? Okay, cool. We're going to fit you in here. And you have to hit that. If you don't, you get delayed for like a year because they have a whole year's worth of Game Pass already planned out.
But is delay a punishment?
No, delay's not a punishment, but it's one of those things. It's like, if you get delayed, you're not going to get another delay. That's it. That's your one delay.
Okay. Dave, what do you think?
Give me one game that was delayed twice in this generation.
Counting Infinite and Starfield were both delayed. Redfall
delayed more than once.
I think they both were.
Starfield.
What was the original, and then the new date before the actual release? Because I know it was supposed to be 11/11/2021.
I don't know off the top of my head, but
yeah, then there was it was actually supposed to come out before that.
I think I understand your point, Logan, but I think that we've had multiple delays happen to first party games, and it still was an
for the
issue.
most part, you're right. Yes. But there's some exceptions.
I think if you remove pandemic complications, it's like your point stands stronger.
Yes.
I think that's kind of because your point is well taken.
Yeah. That's mostly what I'm trying to get at is that Microsoft's pushing games to come out at a certain point. They're not ready. They'll be ready in like 6 months. But if at this point, the review scores are already going to judge it based on the launch. Like it's rare that big outlets will go back and play a game 6 months down the line to give players an opportunity to be like, oh, well, this is the state of the game now. It's like, oh, well, we'll put out a little thing saying that they did a patch, but that's not going to hit as hard as when the game comes out and it gets a 7 because it's buggy and it didn't have enough time, but it had to hit a window.
I think internal barometers, no first party game, this is true of any company, I think, should come out with internal metrics critically rating it below an 8.5. Like, I don't think that's a healthy thing to do to your brand, is to put out a game that's below an 8.5 on internal metrics, provided your internal metrics are transparent and clear within the organization. Redfall being the example of, hey, we didn't know it would do this poorly. Really? Like, really? I like Redfall, and I like. How do you not know? Like,
we had our grievances with it, but we had a good time with it.
Yes, 100%. And so you have to have. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say the one thing I would say, because I know we're talking about Xbox at the moment, but what Microsoft went through a few years ago with the gaming drought because of COVID is exactly what Sony is going through now.
100%.
Because they pushed them so hard to get what they had out, and basically, I don't know, I won't say that because that would ruin our PG rating. But I'll just say that they went all out and spent all they had. That's a nice way to say it. And then they're not able to to fill up their chamber. Plus, they had to make a extreme course correction. And those are, with I guess the financial Hiroki Toki making it, it's like, dude, we're losing money left and right. We're not making the money we need to make, so we need to change things. That's like they canceled all those gas games and all that stuff that they did, and with that, all that time and resources they spent into that, they had to pivot. And it's kind of like with the VR. Or I don't know if we're talking about it. You'd mentioned it in the pre-show that it's like, now they're making the now it's available to work on PC, and that's coming, to that, which is smart. They needed to do that from the get-go, but then you look at what they're doing with the PC version of the VR2, and it's lacking half the features that you get with the PlayStation. Why? The ability is even more there with the PC to do that, and it seems like they're taking one step forward, 2 steps back. Like I said, this isn't a hate PlayStation thing, but they make a lot of mistakes that don't seem to get called out to them. And I think that, like I said, the cadence for their games, they've made the announcement that they have no first party big games coming until the middle of next year. And even then, we don't know exactly what that is. Is it going to be Wolverine? We don't know.
I think that's the frustrating aspect for me, is that PlayStation is doing the status quo, and to Nintendo's continued success, status quo is what a lot of people want. They don't want change, right? For God's sakes, I'd buy an Arkham game every year. I don't care if you change it. Like, I would. I get that. Xbox seemingly gets punished for trying to diversify. The asterisk on that is, I think Xbox is set up. They're built for this new cloud gaming, next gen, get your content everywhere faster, capitalize and monetize in multiple places with live service, in a way that Sony attempted very quickly to redirect and kind of stumbled over their own feet. And that's kind of where they're getting punished. So I'm very curious to watch how Xbox sales are going forward with marketing of Activision and Call of Duty being Xbox skewed now, with the idea that, okay, if you buy Xbox, you're going to get E-Day, Perfect Dark, you're going to get Avowed, you're going to get the next Elder Scrolls, you're going to get expansions to Starfield, you're going to get State of Decay 3 and South by Midnight, and you're going to get. So anybody that's going to a traditional status quo, walk into GameStop, buy your system, those that are selling it, if they're going to have the conversations of old, they don't get to say, well, Sony's got Wolverine and there's nothing, right? Whereas Xbox has this. And I'm curious to see if we find out about an uptick in an Xbox console sales this holiday, because if we don't, what are we doing? Like, I don't understand how you wouldn't, with all that's on the way, because Xbox's incoming slate is just massive, and PlayStation's is is just flaccid at best, you know?
A way they can do that too is that during the holidays, Black Friday special, have the S for like $200,
Mm-hmm.
3 months of game pass included, and on the box it has a big Call of Duty emblem, and then hopefully by that time they can say, also in Game Pass, here's all or every other Call of Duty game ever is in Game Pass. Enjoy.
Yep.
and you don't think that's going to move the needle? That will move the needle.
The
a
Game
lot.
Pass Call of Duty collection, you put a picture of Indy on the box, you put a picture of Doomslayer on the box, you do something other than Marcus, Chief, and a car. And
you can have them there too.
They can be there too, but
Yeah.
prominently should be the new icons of Xbox.
Right.
And get if you sell an S in November with 3 months of Game Pass, that's not enough time to digest all the catalog, but it does get your foot in the door on COD, get your foot in the door on Diablo or whatever else it is, and then you've locked people into a monetization ecosystem, right? Call of Duty, they are the masterclass at monetization. I love that Logan's upset by it. Diablo, incredibly good monetization and good update with season 4, and Vessel of Hatred's on the way. Like, there's a lot of ways to get people in to the Xbox ecosystem, and it comes with bottoming out your console sale price and bundling that Game Pass. Get them in for $3, you'll keep them. Logan, you were shaking your head. You disagree.
Was I?
You were actively shaking your head.
God, this is where my emotions on my sleeve. My bad. Let me communicate that I think that's probably not going to happen, guys. I love you two so much, but the Series S was already at $200. It did not take the world by storm. It's so late in the generation.
Logan emote in chat for this one.
Okay, there we go. It's so late in the generation. I don't think anyone's going to really jump on a $200 Series S at this point. I think anyone that's been kind of hemming and hawing about this thing has already kind of at this point like decided, based on pundit research, that little boy ain't cutting it, and that it's not going to be able to like handle the games that they want to do. Plus, they're going to have to sit there and look at the 1 terabyte. It's one of those. It's one of those things where they're going to have to be downloading 300 gigs for Call of Duty.
You're a fun sponge. I don't know what Cheeseworks means by that, but I do think it's funny.
No, a fun sponge is like someone that comes in and sucks the fun out of everything.
Oh, you're a wet blanket. Got it.
No, honestly, the problem that I have with this is that, again, we've seen the Series S at $200. Why does 3 months of Game Pass sell it more than when it was already $200 early in the games generation, or the systems generation?
3 months of Game Pass when Call of Duty is in there.
I was gonna say, this is the first holiday that Call of Duty is owned by Microsoft, and they can look. To your point, you're right. There's no really need to get a console, but for Microsoft, it's there if you want it. That's the whole thing about their ecosystem.
It's here now. That's the thing, is it's not selling now. Like, console sales are so down. Why is
but they don't care about that. That's my point. They don't care. It's
then
there
why are they
for
going to
people
do
that
a
want
bundle?
them. Because you do that because there are people that will buy that. The kids want something under the tree. You get this bundle, boom.
The kids are not going to be happy
Logan,
with
Call of
Series
Duty
S.
sells.
Yeah, I know
It depends on the
sells,
kid.
but it sells when it launches.
And it
You gotta
launches
think a
in
casual
November
gamer.
or October
Yep.
with Game Pass and a sale is what we're saying. Bundle it.
But
Like,
and you're
if
right.
I'm-
It may not be for everybody. That is for sure. And
I'm
it
not
may not.
saying I'm not saying it's for everywhere. I just don't see the reason why they go that route when they know Call of Duty will sell. Why not just sell the console at the full price and then have Call of Duty in at that? Because then you're taking a $60 or $70 hit versus a $100 hit on the console. Just sell the console at full price.
You make
Just
more
put
money
Call of
over
Duty
time with Game
on
Pass,
Game Pass.
than you do buying a game out single at a time. Because over time, if you're into the ecosystem and you continue to re-up your subscription, you're actually going to make more money in the long run with that. And it's all built into the Game Pass ecosystem. Just saying. But I mean, I don't think any of us can sit there with the with the books for Microsoft and say, well, this makes more sense to do this. This makes more sense to do this. They have already decided that for them as a company, it makes more sense to be diverse. In other words, to be everywhere. Because there's people that love digital Game Pass didn't play it on their PC or handheld or whatever. Your Steam Deck, your whatever you want to play it on, you can do that. Or there's people that really like a high-end console in their house, more hardcore gamers, but the average, I guess, casual gamer, they focus in on Madden, they focus in on Call of Duty, they focus in on a few other sports games, and that's pretty much it. And that's where a lot of the money is made in gaming today with those big franchises, which most of those are now included in Game Pass.
Have to imagine that with if you capitalize on Game Pass Ultimate marketing, you get your Madden, your FIFA, your Call of Duty, and whatever, because Ultimate includes EA Play. And if they can find a way to kind of message that a bit better, because I've always felt EA Play is just this like tossed in thing that nobody knows about, cares about. Like yesterday, FIFA launched into Game Pass. FIFA's huge. It's FC 24 is huge, but like no one's talking about it because that's that casual gamer, that COD, that Madden, that FIFA only gamer. And I see our chat kind of having an interesting discourse of like, well, if it's available last gen, why would you upgrade or whatnot? You don't have to. And I think Xbox is happy to give it to you wherever you're willing. But if they can get people in on the console side, they're not giving that 30% to PlayStation. You can have it in Game Pass, or you can pay full price on PlayStation or on PC, Steam, Epic, wherever they put out their stuff. And that's fine. But if they can get them into the Xbox ecosystem, those revenues stay in-house, which I think is better for the company. And that's why they would still be willing to sell at a loss.
I
Logan, don't let me make your point, but don't let me forget to have our next gen exclusive versus last gen mixed cross gen conversation before we exit today. Okay.
So I'm not disagreeing with you guys. I'm not debating necessarily like the importance of Call of Duty owned by Microsoft or how that's going to be good for Game Pass or anything like that. I was specifically picking at the fact that the Series S is not running away with console sales the way Microsoft wanted it to. And even if you were to take that console, chop $100 off and give it 3 months of Game Pass, I still don't think that that's going to move the needle. I think that if you are a Call of Duty fan, you are willing to spend the money to get the X, and you're going to get the $100 version with Black Cell and all that. Like you are willing to, because that is the one purchase that you are going to be making. That is the one thing that the kids want. Kids don't want the S, they want the X. Parents are getting the S because that's the affordable thing. But if you're looking at like the Call of Duty fan, the one, because I know my boss's boss is he and I talk Call of Duty, but he is a Call of Duty only person, and he only plays on PlayStation, and that is like the one game that he spends time on. He wants to talk about that because of Microsoft. I know that he's not going to sit there and be like, oh yeah, I'll get the $200 console because they got a deal going on. It's like, no, he's going to buy the $500 console. And he's going to buy the $100 version because it is the one spending thing that he is going to get for that holiday, and he wants it to be big.
And 1000% agree with what you just said. Absolutely, totally agree. There are hardcore gamers that have the money that will spend it. Hardcore on Call of Duty. Call of Duty. Let me focus that down.
Okay.
Call of Duty
agree on that.
Okay, so all right, so that's a bad example using the word hardcore. Sorry, but as far as like you said, focused in on Call of Duty. If he's passionate about Call of Duty, he wants it to be the best. And also at the holiday season, there will be sales on those consoles as well too. There will be probably, I think probably a $400 or a $399, Black Friday special. It may just be for a couple of weeks. But I mean, those kind of things will happen, or there'll be some kind of like buy a $500, Xbox Series X and get a year's worth of Game Pass or 6 months worth of Game Pass included for that price. I just think there's bundles and things that they can do to get people in the ecosystem, because in the long run, the biggest thing for them is to get them in the ecosystem. Because once you're in, there's so much more allure. Even if you're not, like this, but there's so many other like first person shooters that are on there. And maybe you get in there with your friends and maybe you think, cool, well, we played all this, we got all this, and you got access to this. And hey, I've been playing this game on my Xbox. You want to try it out? Who's to say they won't? They may not. But the options are going to be there. And that's, I guess, the biggest thing that I would say is that, because like I said, I 1000% agree with you that there are people that are just going to get this and not this. But they're like, but my point was that there are parents out there that don't have the money to spend to get everything. And I think that the marketing this holiday is going to be crucial. And that's one of there's the marketing department at Microsoft recently had some big changes. Some of the people have moved on and some other people have been moved up, because I think that this is the holiday season where they're like, we have everything we need in our basket. Let's take everything that we need to do, because people are talking about, marketing this, marketing that. It's true. It's very important. But I think now they have the goods that they can really market it in every different direction, whether it's Game Pass, whether it's the big titles, whether it's the, best console to have. All of this stuff really matters, because a lot of people name brand recognition. PlayStation is like, I think in the top 20 or 30, where the Xbox brand recognition, as far as like marketing stuff that they've tested, is like around 200, as far as people associate that with gaming. So worldwide. So I think with all this stuff that's going on and the ability to do this, I think it's going to push the bar up. And in the long run, or I guess the big picture, I would say, is that Microsoft is making money, and and a lot of it, with the gaming division, this last financial releases, we're talking about that it's moved up past Windows. So, and that has a lot to do with their recent purchase of Activision Blizzard King. That it's once because they started getting all that money right away, even though they had to do the buyout. Activision Blizzard King, when they did the purchase for whatever, we'll just say $70 billion, round it up, that they had cash on hand of $10 billion. Cash on hand just themselves. So that money goes into the coffer for Microsoft to spend, and it's part of their profit revenue for that year. So they're in a good position, and it's all how they market it. That's going to be the key this year, is how they market. I probably went off on a different tangent again. I'm sorry, guys.
No, I agree with you that. I think for me, the $200 Series S with 3 months of Game Pass was a bridge too far. Right. I think that if you're going to sell the system at $200 and 1 month of Game Pass, that would probably be the most optimum marketing that I could see, because we've already seen the $200, but a lot of these console prices are coming at the cost at the actual like franchise store level, like the box stores. They're the ones that are taking the hit on those to try and move units, because they bought in thinking that it would be something. They're the ones that are probably going to be taking the hit. Microsoft got full purchase price out of them when they purchased the consoles to actually sell. So it's going to be up to the deals that the stores want to make. And more often than not, at least with this generation that I've seen, because it feels like last generation, we did see some of like the smaller, the price cuts plus the bundles, like I picked up my PS4 with Spider-Man for $200, like late in the generation. And it was a great purchase. Now we're getting close to that. I would agree that I would see like a $200 Series S with Call of Duty from like Target. Like that makes sense to me. Or like a Series X with 2 games, or like a game and a controller. Like those are more typical around the deals that I've been seeing during this generation over Black Friday than other thing, like going as far as like 3 months. I can't remember if I've ever seen a deal where they've offered 3 months of Game Pass. That seems like a lot of money that Microsoft could get from them to get them like hooked in, that they could do with just a month's worth of time.
It was a while back that they did that. It's been a while. It's been a
Okay.
long time. Yeah, long time. Right. But
Gotcha.
I think 1 month is too short. But I want to address this comment from David, who incredible journalist as well. You guys should check him out. But he says, why would Xbox do a bundle for a game you get on Game Pass? And I think that's a great question. And I think it comes down to which game is it? And is this game monetizable, able to be monetized? Like, you wouldn't bundle it with Hellblade, right? But you would bundle it with COD or with Diablo, something where if you get the base game, you have the ability to upgrade or purchase or do something within there. I think that's a logical thing on the business side. Now, as a consumer, like, I don't care. Like, Luke Lohr does not have a stake in this, but if I'm Xbox looking in the business way, I put, Black Ops 6 in there, knowing that, yeah, you can have the base game, but once I get you in, very few of those customers are just buying the console to play the campaign and done. Most are invested in battle passes and skins and different XP boosts. And Logan, that's why I think it's so important. This is not like a tangent thing. I think it's very important that you have a skin with Master Chief, with Doomslayer, with Marcus, because it's such a big, broad base that when people talk about and see that character on display, it raises brand awareness, and you've got Xbox brands that have stuff on the way. For sure, Halo 7 is on the way. We know about Gears E-Day. We know that's a mainline Gears game. Why wouldn't you put a skin in there with Joanna Dark in Black Ops 6 to raise who is Joanna Dark? People buy these no-name, serial killer skins and weird cryptoid skins in COD all the time. Why wouldn't you be curious of, well, wait, what is this for State of Decay 3? What's this zombie? Why wouldn't I have some very small cross promotion thing? I think it's underutilized.
I don't disagree with you, but at launch, I think that's a tricky thing to balance. We've obviously seen success with things like Warhammer or Fallout come to COD and do really well as far as like bundles and skins and stuff like that. But when asking for like stuff at launch for Black Ops 6, when they're already pushing a deadline that they know they have to hit this year for just the base content, knowing that they probably have another team that is working on season 1. That's probably something that's already in the
hopefully
works.
Halo Infinite lessons.
Yeah, no kidding. Well, COD has their cadence down, so I'm not too worried about that. But I do think like asking them to do that at launch is a little more tricky than asking for something that may actually tie closer into, say, like when Halo Infinite has like a new update coming out and they want to do that cross promotion, or we do get Call of Duty Black Ops 6 knowing that Perfect Dark is going to be coming out in 2025, so they plan to have like that crossover at that time. Throwing it in without something to really like connect the two IPs during a point of relevance, I think is the misstep in this case. I would rather actually do something for both IPs at the same time, as opposed to, because like right now Fortnite has Pirates of the Caribbean content in there. Who's thinking about Pirates of the Caribbean right now?
A fair point. So not like a random thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
I want to bring in
sorry.
Save. I want to bring in Addy Dotunes $5 super chat. Thank you. You're helping me get new overlays for the channel, and I really appreciate you. Thank you so much. Addy says, I think we should all realize that the box is no longer the key metric with Xbox. Kids now play on iPads. Kids play on iPads now, so a Series S, he put an addendum in the chat, S is more than enough. I think there is relevancy there. Like if you've got young kids and they're not serviced by the iPad, or you want them on the TV, a Series S is the right call. And you're right. The Xbox itself is not always the key metric or matrix in which Xbox is being judged, because of what we just talked about, an hour ago with the Fire Sticks and with the ability to log in on Samsung TVs, log in on your phone. Yes, but I do think the console is still a pillar aspect. Logan, your hand is up. Yes.
Mr.
Logan
Lohr.
Keller? Yes,
Mr. Lohr, I just want to address that. I do agree with the box not being the main key metrics, and that the Series S is more than enough. But trying to market the Series S as a device that kids are going to be interested in when you've got something like Call of Duty and Indiana Jones. You've already stated multiple times that Indiana Jones is not a relevant IP for kids. Call of Duty is not something that kids should be playing who are going to be asking for a Series S. So that is a tricky thing as far as a marketing perspective goes, to try and sell a Series S for kids this holiday, when your two biggest things are an irrelevant to kids IP, according to Mr. Lohr, and Call of Duty, which is mature rated.
So that I was thinking earlier about this, like, bundle, the box, right?
Yeah.
The box and the commercials. If you've got like an Xbox commercial and you've got an indie, a picture of indie in there or something like that, do you think that helps that metric?
That's a tough one.
Because I think in a good Xbox marketing commercial, you have to show the console.
Yep.
You've got to show COD. And then I think you need an image montage of like Doomslayer, Chief, of Lilith from Diablo. And I think having an Indiana Jones picture in there would be helpful.
Yeah.
Right?
Starfield, obviously, with the expansion coming.
Yeah. Because I will stand on all the ground in the world that nobody outside of our listener base and demographic care about Indiana Jones. Like, kids just don't. They don't even know who he is. And so, like, you got to get him somewhere. You got to put it out there. And again, a great game can sell itself if done right. So if it's a great game, like, I'm rooting for it because I want to play great games. But like, when I
why did it have to be snakes?
Nice, Dave. But when I talk to my students, like, because my students all the time, they ask me what I'm doing. So when I was like, I'm reviewing Hellblade, they were like, "What is that?" I was like, "Oh, guys, it's like the biggest Xbox game of the 6 months window." And they're like, "Okay, is Hellblade in COD?" And I'm like, "Is Hellblade in Fortnite?" I'm like, "What are you talking about? What?"
Yeah.
Hellblade can't be. All right, okay.
It could be in COD soon enough. You never know.
Why wasn't there a Senua skin? Whatever. All right. We got
Not
Lilith
everything-
in there.
Not everything has to cross over, Luke.
If I'm the Fallout guy, side note, I made an incredible Fallout edit for YouTube Shorts. Go look at the channel. I did a really good edit on a YouTube short. It's like, I'm so proud of it. Please go watch it. But it showed off the Fallout skins, which Activision gave me, and I was like, yeah, these look good. They look good. And it was a good edit. I'm proud of it. I'm proud of it.
Dork.
Yes,
I can tell.
That-
So you wanted to talk about cross-generation stuff.
I did, yeah. So looking ahead, right? So we've been talking about all these Xbox markets, cloud gaming, whatnot. With the Series S and X, which I will maintain are fantastic pieces of hardware. I know there's a lot of conversations about the S, and I think a lot of them are made by people that are not informed on that topic. And I am not technically or technologically sound enough to have that discussion, right? I trust Kay Asante to have that discussion. I do not trust Joe Schmo on the internet. I don't trust, just fanboys debating the Series S.
His last name's Moran.
Oh God, he's so ugly too.
Schmo.
Ugh. But the Series S and X to me are great pieces of hardware that I really enjoy. I have both. I use both in my house regularly, and I bounce between them with the really good, though overly priced memory slot thing. I love that stuff. But with this generation, Xbox took a gamble, and admittedly, there's the kerfuffle of the pandemic. That's a light word for it. They did cross generation, right? A lot of stuff that was available on the Xbox Series S and X is also available on the Xbox One. Dated hardware, to say the least. To me, not great hardware, all things considered. And with the news that Xbox is looking to bring its next generation in 2026, with statements from Sarah Bond like the most technologically impressive console ever made, with the leaps and bounds that Xbox seems to be pushing with Unreal Engine 5 and Gears E-Day, the question becomes, are they going to work to have a cross-generation transition once again, because I see a world where, of course, your CODs and your Warcrafts and your Diablos and all that stuff. Warcraft is not the right statement, but where some of the stuff is cross-gen. But if you launch your Xbox Series Next with Gears E-Day and State of Decay 3 and Forza Horizon 6, all exclusive to the next generation of console hardware, I think that would be a huge gamble, but one that could pay dividends and pay dividends in spades. But it runs counter to Xbox being everywhere, because PlayStation is 2 years behind in what we see. Yeah, Fable, another one there, Nerd Chat saying correctly. So I do wonder, are they going to take the gamble and say some of these games are not cross-gen, or some of these games are cross-gen? Because I'm buying a Series Next for Gears E-Day, for State of Decay 3. And I think a lot of people would once they see it and put it on display. You could have an Xbox 360 moment where everyone's like, oh my God, I have to play that. So that is a huge gamble question. But and chat, please weigh in. And side note, appreciate all the likes and the shares and whatnot. Thank you guys on the show. We've got right now over 150 people watching across platforms, YouTube and otherwise. So thank you. Really curious, what do you guys think about this cross-gen idea? I can see it both ways.
Dave, do you want to go first?
No, I'm gonna let you go first this time.
I think it's. I could definitely see them going both ways. I would prefer that. This is tough. If the hardware, if whatever the Xbox Next is comes out, if they're gonna do something where like they just don't have that cross-gen bridge, that hardware's got to be amazingly close to PC right now. Because if you were to take the PC out of the market, the hardware that we have right now would feel amazing. And it just doesn't compared to the hardware that we can get for PC. So if they're going to go like, hey, these are going to be amazing games. These are going to be fantastic. They're going to run at 4K 60 locked. They've got ray tracing built into that. Like, we need to have hardware that really represents what PC can offer right now. And if that means that we're looking at consoles that start jumping into the thousands, like, there needs to be an evolutionary leap. There needs to be a shift in the paradigm, because it feels like right now consoles are choking on games that are trying to get settings that PCs could do 3 years ago, 4 years ago. And if you don't do something like that, then I think you have to stay cross-gen, because you have to bridge that gap. Because already it feels like there are still people who are stuck on last gen PS4s and Xbox One S's. And that to me is...
Yeah, we saw PlayStation put out numbers that like half their users are still on PS4.
Yeah, because it was an amazing console. And people don't... Like, the console market has not jumped so much. And they don't buy PCs, so the fidelity isn't in question. And it makes me wonder, like, if they're going to push, and maybe this is a privileged perspective for me. Maybe I'm not thinking about like the majority of like what casual gamers or gamers that buy consoles are going for, but it just doesn't feel like there is a big enough bridge between the games that are being made on consoles compared to what we're seeing for what PC can offer. And I think if we're going to do like generation only stuff, kill the cross-play or cross-gen stuff, then I want to know that this console is going to be powerful enough to really, really kind of make sure that you're going to be getting an amazing experience.
I got distracted by the super chat. Thank you, Web Dave.
You're welcome, dude.
Incredible
support,
$10 super chat. Just saying what's up. Thank you,
so
man.
much.
I really appreciate it. That
yeah. Make sure everybody hits the like
use.
button and they sub this channel. Do it.
I appreciate you, man.
Same.
Thank you. What do you think, man? Cross-gen?
Okay, so with if you say cross-gen, then we're talking like Series S and X.
Right, like the idea that you
The
buy
back.
Gears
That's the
eBay.
start. That's the back.
That's the back end, and then Series Next is whatever.
Right. Then Series Next is yeah. So, but definitely as far as going back any further, no.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry. That's the first thing. But yeah, it's you will have to see how things go in the future as far as the new console, because I do believe, and this is just a hypothetical guess, no inside information, no insight or any kind of garbage like that, but from people I've talked to that say it is possible that in this one of the evolutionary steps that Sarah Bond was talking about is the ability to take a game that was maybe made for the S and bring up the quality to the new generation console to where it doesn't hold back in any way. Because so for example, I guess maybe a bad example, but like you have some of the games that were, I guess, released on Game Pass, old games, and they were like, oh, we gave them a boost, which boosted up, and nothing on the developers had to do. It was strictly on Microsoft's side, and it was nothing on the back end that anybody else had to do. And they took those games and they bumped up the frame rate and all that kind of stuff, and bumped up the the ability, and there's a possibility that I might be able to do that, which would actually, if that does happen in this quote unquote the next gen console, Xbox Next, whatever you want to call it, that it can actually make this discussion completely moot, because if that did happen, then there wouldn't be anything holding. You could still have access to all the games that we have right now, all the new games, but whatever the next generation or next iteration of the system would basically bring it up. Like I said, that's just strictly a one of if there's a wish list of things that developers would love to have done, and that is to make their games more accessible and with less work on them. And if this is something that they can do and to still have all that revenue coming in, and be able to say, well, here's Starfield, even though it's last gen, but now it's all souped up. Obviously now they have the patch and everything that's 4K. So that's just, like I said, I don't know that's what's going to happen, but it's what was it I always use when we do our speculation show? It's all just rumors until it happens. So
that's true. Yo, huge shout out. I'm sorry to interrupt you. This blew my mind, Dave. 10 gifted subs from Matt Valdez to the community. Thank you so much, dude. Wow. Thank you, Matt.
Make sure to tip your waitress too.
You are a champion, my friend.
Did you list everybody that got him?
Yeah, wow, goodness. We got Abdel, Happy Cloud Gamer, Gentle Stone, Andrew Cannon. It's Timmy's in here. I didn't realize that. What's up, Timmy? Bison's in here. Who else is in there? Del Clay, Rayoid, Oates, and Ryan T. Familiar names, new names abound. Thank you guys so much. Enjoy your double down emote. If you're new to XEP, the double down is legendary in our community. And one day when they bring it back, I'm gonna have to do a video where I have to eat some, which is scary.
Bro, it's gonna be so good. Stop.
What if I like it? That's my biggest fear. Is what if I like it?
You're going to like it.
Yummy.
You're gonna like it, and you'll be like, I am so sad that I didn't try these earlier.
I will tell you, the pizza icon in here, I will never like the trash that is.
Well, no, look, there's a difference between licking cardboard and having like two pieces of chicken with some tasty stuff in between.
Yeah.
Yeah. Here we go, dude. Your food.
Get in my belly.
Yes.
Oh, I like it.
Oh. God, my headset's too loud. It was so gross.
I'm curious to know like what's going to happen with this gen for next gen when it comes to it, because I know like the compatibility team did a hell of a job bringing a lot of like the Xbox OG, the 360 and the One games over to the Series X. And if we have access through cloud streaming to be able to play all those, part of me is cautious about like how long they're going to keep that a thing, because it's not like a promise. It's just like a, hey, we want to do this for this generation. We're still kind of waiting on it. I'm very curious to know like what's going to happen with all of our games and stuff like that, because we're already seeing like Call of Duty's like, hey, you know all that money you spent on that Godzilla and that Fallout, that's where it's going to stay.
See, so I remember you were upset by that, and we had a discussion I don't think we had it on air.
Why I stopped buying my skins.
So yeah, so Dave, tell me what you think. I'm gonna articulate the situation. Logan was upset that we got news that in Black Ops 6 you cannot use the skins you purchased in Modern Warfare's 2 and 3, which were linked side by side releases. To me, that was totally okay. I was not bothered by that because Modern Warfare and Black Ops are such departures from one another. But he was like, no, I'm done. I'm not buying any more skins in COD, which is, to me, is a different thing than in Fortnite, where the game, you don't have Fortnite 2. You don't have Fortnite Modern Warfare 3 or Black Ops or whatnot. To me, Black Ops and Fortnite, or Black Ops and Modern Warfare, are so separate that I was unbothered, though it would have been cool. I was unbothered by that. What's your take on that?
I agree with Captain Logan. I think it's
okay.
BS. If you spent that money, I think it should carry over. Why not?
It's they're not the same.
Weren't we just years ago talking about how bad NFTs were going to be for the industry, because they're like, we're going to give you skins and you could carry your skins from one game to the next game, and we're like, no, don't do the digital token thing. And now we're like, we're okay if we lose money on these skins. That's fine. Yeah. It's a different game.
What was it Sarah said? She that they were working on, because now that she's the president, that it's forward compatibility. So that hopefully in the future, especially in like COD, that kind of stuff is able to carry over and carry on. You know, even from game to game. I get you were saying. The only other thing, like you were sorry. Go ahead, Logan. You
Luke, I just want to say, like the you're talking about and oh god, I'm losing the string of it. No, you're talking about how oh god, here we go. You wanted to have a team to build crossover IP for Call of Duty Black Ops 6. You don't care if that team is doing that, but the money you spent on all the IP stuff that you got for the last game isn't being transferred over. Like, why isn't there a team dedicated to bringing the Godzilla stuff and all the cool skins that they brought over with Call of Duty 6, but you want crossover IP team to be working on like Halo Infinite, Perfect Dark, stuff like that? Like,
no, your point is well taken. I think the distinction is we're talking about a new engine. Black Ops 6 is a new engine. And somebody in chat, it was Abdel, pointing out that they've got new movement elements with the omnidirectional movement. They've got new assets that have to be built for this new product. Whereas in Fortnite, you're just updating. When you went from Modern Warfare 2 to 3, you were just updating. To me, that's the difference. You are right that would I love to have my Fallout skins and my Godzilla stuff move over with me 100%. But the game is different. The engine is different. The look and feel will be different. To me, that's where I guess I have a mental kind of like divider in there. And I do absolutely nearly demand crossover IP between Xbox properties. I think that's hugely important to their success. But I don't think that's the same as saying, okay, Gundam and Godzilla and the Cryptoid packs or whatever it is should go over too, because they're different characters, different things. That said, if they found a way to honor that, rock on. Like my Black Cell stuff, yes, but that stuff was purchased for Modern Warfare, not for Black Ops. So I guess that's the divide.
and not to interrupt, but on a side note, like using Godzilla, the IP, that's the Toho owned entity, and
Mhm.
their licensing agreement may only strictly be for this particular game type thing.
Mm,
In other words, so Microsoft would have to either go back in and renegotiate for this other gen, or they could just say in the new game, here's the newest Godzilla skin that you can purchase
yeah.
as well. So that's the only but as far as like for if it's Microsoft owned, like say there's a Master Chief skin you purchase
Mhm.
and you're able to get that, then yeah, that should carry over because they own the IP themselves. That would be the only limitation I would say as far as like the Godzilla. I agree with you. It should be great if it does, and I agree with you that it should. But the reason why it may not is because of the agreement that they made in licensing. It's kind of like when Ready
Yeah.
Player One was one of my favorite books. I loved it. The movie was okay, and they did
Mhm.
pretty good. But to me,
Thank you for having an appropriate take on both the book and the film.
there you go. Ultraman in the book made the ending of the game, but they couldn't get the rights to it, and they tried for the movie, and because they couldn't get the rights in the movie, they had to go a different direction. The Iron Giant type thing, which was cool. They worked it out, but it was nowhere near as good. The book and Ready Player 2. I don't know if you've read that one. Oh my
Yeah.
god, so good.
I actually really didn't like the second one too much.
Really, I mean, that's fair enough. It took
Whole
me at
nother
the end. I was
podcast.
exactly. But the point is, that was the reason why they couldn't add those elements is because there was so many rights they had to buy, and having Steven Spielberg direct it gave him access to just about half of the elements that they needed to make the movie. Sorry.
Yeah.
Quick shout out to Adidas 20 for being a member for 2 months. Thank you so much. And then our huge patron of the day, Matt Valdez, says all purchased items in COD should be carried over in perpetuity. I think while they were building the new game, they had that in mind.
I do agree with that, and I actually want to pull up Split End's comment. Why carry things over if you can charge for them again? 100% understand the Nintendo mentality there as well too. My expansion pack subscription is like going to be lapsing here pretty soon, and I'm like, I'm going to lose access to all my N64 games, and I really hate that because I would still go and actually rebuy a lot of those dumb games like I did before if they just gave me the opportunity. Instead, I got to subscribe to the service. But if they're planning on, and I think that the licensing agreements are definitely probably the hitch in the situation, especially for a lot of the stuff. There's a lot that aren't considered like IPs, like they're IP adjacent, like the Universal Studios monster skins that they built that weren't like on point, the creature from the Black Lagoon and stuff, but close enough that people kind of knew the reference. I think stuff like that should most definitely be considered to be brought over. They need to write better contracts in these licensing agreements to account for the longevity of their live service games, whether they're new.
That's just what we talked about with Forza, though.
I know, that's what I'm saying. Like,
oh, okay, your factory,
yeah.
Okay.
Yes, please take that into account if you're going to be getting these IPs. How long is the game going to be in longevity? How long are you going to sustain its ability to be purchased? Take all of that into account. Bring that stuff forward if you can. Like, if it's a royalties thing, like pay royalties. Actors get royalties for movies they did 30 years ago. Still, every time there's a stream or a purchase of it, like these deals have been made. Just figure it out so the consumers, don't have to suffer with all of these repercussions of lost digital goods, because we can't sell that stuff back to them. We can't get a refund when we can't use it anymore. It sucks.
What if you had the ability to, because for one thing, that would be basically, it would be nice to have the ability to do it, but yet that would cost Microsoft, if they just outright, they would have to pay for the updated licensing. What if that updated licensing was like, say, for an extra $1, you have access to your older skin library compared to, just like a little bit more money. If you would be willing to probably do that if you had access to it.
100%. We did this with, what was it? Wii and Wii U, I think. You
purchases,
purchases that you did for the Wii U store. Like you could buy those games and get access to them again if you had them before. You pay $1 and you get access to the Wii client. You know, get the Wii the license. Like, but that was a generational thing, so a little bit different than like going from game installment to game installment. They're already asking for $70 or $100 a year,
right?
Like, if I'm going to be spending $200 in skins and black cell passes and battle passes throughout the rest of the year, and now you're asking me to start fresh with a whole new library of digital goods that are just cosmetic.
Yeah,
that's where I'm like, okay, I feel like I'm getting fleeced here just a little bit.
I think that's the nature of a live service thing. Like, I know when I spend $30 on a black cell pass that I'm getting extra stuff that a lot of it I'm not going to use, but I like doing that. I can't explain why. I'm not pretending like I know why. It's the same reason why people are like, buy a Fortnite pass that gives them 25 extra levels, or the premium pass in Infinite, or whatever it was. There are people there that want to do that. I'm in some games, I am that person, right? And I don't want to. I don't want to make light of people that do that, because I'm absolutely one of those people in some cases. But yeah, a way to bring some of that stuff forward would be smart on their front. But split end, why bring things over? People will buy it again. I'm the guy that's going to buy the next version of the Godzilla skin. Like I
they can get away with it. That's the issue.
Yeah.
That's the issue that I have, is that they can get away with it because they know what the market will bear.
It's true.
We'll blame Todd Howard for that.
Abdel in chat saying, I like a fresh slate though. Everybody starts at the same level, no head start. A fresh slate is something I think a lot of people do seek, and they like the idea. But I wonder how fresh that slate feels to new customers when they says Black Ops 6. And I don't know, like, what's the difference. That's why you get 2 games called Lords of the Fallen, or people reboot franchises, because they want that fresh slate effect. But then when you put a 6 on it, I don't know. Oh, hey, this is a good question. Do you think that some piece of it relates to install size? I will say this, man. Xbox, you need to fix it. You need to figure it out. Some of these install sizes on
no, they're doing smart delivery, Luke. Get out of here. They're
smart delivery is fantastic. Smart delivery is fantastic, but figure out your install sizes. It's absurd that any game be 300 gigs. Figure it out. Optimize it. Do whatever you need to do. That's not for the customer to solve. That's not a problem for the customer to solve. That's a problem for you to solve. I cannot stand, and skins should not be kicking up an install of multi gigs. I just don't see that.
But they do. They're one of the biggest assets in the game.
Set these nuts. That's what I response. I just don't. They've got to figure that the install size out. Memory is a problem. If you're gonna sell and bundle the Series S, if you're gonna sell this new Xbox that's a Galaxy skin or whatever, like, you've got to figure out the memory aspect of it.
Yeah. Well, I think live service games are some of the biggest culprits in this scenario. How big was Hellblade?
Wasn't big. It was like 30-40 gigs, I believe.
Yeah. Super. Same thing with like Hi-Fi Rush. Avowed probably going to be 80 gigs, 85 gigs. Actually, pretty sure we could get that information, so I'd be very curious given the size.
Can we shout out Avowed real quick? 3rd person through the whole game. I'm very excited by this news. I wonder if it's a reaction or it was just a feature that they didn't have. I'm very anxious to see combat in 3rd person, because I thought the combat in 1st person looked bad. But I know it spoke to other people. Avowed to me is likely to be a divisive game, similar to how Hellblade was. And I hope that people get past it, because I think a lot of people missed out on the great experience that is Hellblade because of the arguments. I'm really excited by Hellblade, by an Avowed 3rd person view, and I hope that the game does well. Like, I really do.
Same.
And chat, are you guys excited for Avowed? Like, give me your meter. Dave, you said same. Have you been eyes on that one?
Do you play I guess Elder Scrolls Online? Have you ever played it? Okay, well,
I have, but I don't play it at the moment.
I play it occasionally now. I played it for a long time with some good friends. Shout out to Blackheart and Lady Blackheart. But I played that game strictly in third person.
Really?
It's all made first person, just like all the Elder Scrolls series type thing. But I was like third person, and I just absolutely love it. And it's just, to me, the ability to switch out is fantastic. Even if it's a little quirky in third person, I'm still gonna play it third because it's the way I like playing them.
I'm a third person stan, like all the time, every time if I can do it. I just prefer my games in third person. So
I don't have we don't actually have like the install size on this yet.
For what? Avowed?
Oh no, wait.
Why
No,
would
we
you?
don't.
Avowed's not done.
We know how big Call of Duty is going to be.
Do we? Do we know how big Call of Duty is
it's
going to be?
300 gigs.
Do we know that? Now, the asterisk on COD is that it's got 3 different modes: single player, multiplayer, and Warzone. And those are 3 massively different modes.
309.85
and they all download at once.
They sure do.
From pre-installs. Yep.
Yeah. 300 gigabytes for Call of Duty Black Ops 6, but we don't have Avowed's install size yet.
Okay.
Which is, I don't know. I thought we would actually have that. I don't know why that's. I'm gonna look up Indiana Jones.
Once it's pre-installed, I think you'll be able to do it. I don't know that Indy's pre-installable, so I don't think it's listed either. It may not. It may be, but I don't think it is.
I
look at all this stuff on my wish list just so I have it queued up, so keep track of them.
I'm looking forward to Avowed, and I'm curious to know how it fits into the Xbox pantheon. Like, what is it going to do for Xbox games in general? Because we have so many games coming out now. I'm curious where Avowed stands. Like, will it be a pillar franchise or a supplementary pillar? Like, will it take mainline spotlight or will it be its own thing? And that's
expect Outer Worlds. 100% just expect Outer Worlds. And then once Outer Worlds 2 comes out, they'll start talking about whatever their Fallout version or whatever Obsidian's version of Fallout will be after. Like, the team that does Avowed will probably move on to do like a Fallout version.
Interesting. I really like Carrie Patel. She's on my short bucket list of like people I want to have on the show. I have her book that I'm going to read this summer as well, which I'm really excited to do. Yeah, she wrote a book, a novel. I moved my stuff. It's a fantasy novel. It's not related to anything.
A fantasy novel.
Hey, that was really hostile.
Was
that really hostile?
I thought that sounded very kind.
That's what she said.
So no install sizes yet for Indie or Avowed. Kind of surprised by that.
Fair enough. Guys, we're starting to wind down here. Any kind of lingering thoughts or things that you want to bring up?
We never talked about the Microsoft Xbox controllers on Steam being a big deal.
Oh, that is interesting. Yeah, the idea that like first controller usage on Steam is up tremendously in the last 5 years. And of that controller, of the available controllers, Xbox is the preferred controller of choice over DualSenses or third parties or whatnot. I found that interesting, but I also wonder if it's a symptom of, say, Xbox teaching its audience that you can go to PC and be okay. And I don't have an answer on that front, but I am curious to know if you guys had similar thoughts or whatnot. But it is cool news to kind of just learn about.
100%. Dave, I want to give you the floor because I know you haven't jumped in a bit.
I think it's great, and I mean, the controller is a great controller, and it's pretty much, it's universal. There's a lot of different games, and enable it, shouldn't say anyway. But yeah, so yeah, it makes sense that it's so popular to use, and hopefully, we'll get this next iteration controller sometime soon, whether it's bundled with the next gen console or whatever. Hopefully it'll have the the feedback abilities that that people are pretty excited about with the DualSense type thing. That would be cool. But yeah, I think that's that's a good thing. I don't know about you guys, but I have 2 or 3 sets of controllers that are Xbox brand laying around
So
here.
many.
Oh man.
Different colors. So
So
yeah,
many.
so yeah, I'm just glad
So
that it
many.
works. So
Yeah.
No, I agree.
I this is my Starfield controller is actually my PC when I'm jumping onto Steam or through like Xbox.
Nice.
So that's always hanging out, just ready to jump in because I still use my Turtle Beach and my Halo Elite 2 for
Mhm.
my consoles. But yeah, when it comes to playing on Steam, and I actually, funny enough, part of me thinks that the reason why controllers have become so much more popular on console or on PC is a lot of people are upgrading from console to PC because graphics cards are actually affordable and available nowadays. So people are building PCs a lot more now. But additionally, a lot of the ports that we've been seeing for really good console games aren't necessarily having the greatest compatibility to PC. Like the PC ports of them aren't as good. Like I was watching someone jump into Ghost of Tsushima, and it's amazing game, but it really only plays well with a console. The way that with a controller, the way the controller is designed, they have just really, like, Sucker Punch has done a fantastic job of building the actual play style with the bumpers and triggers and how you have to switch between things. So when I look at like what games people are playing on PC, and a lot of streamers playing these, these first party or first party experiences on PC now, it makes sense that they would want to shift over to the native controller for those. But with the natural firmware that's built into Windows, having direct connection up to Bluetooth without having any issues, I'm not surprised that the Xbox controller is the natural pick for a lot of Steam players to be able to pick up. It's the most universal controller out there because it's just so compatible with a lot of stuff. And you don't have things like adaptive trigger settings to worry about or touchpads to have to figure out. It's just very, very standard. And Nintendo doesn't have, doesn't offer theirs isn't quite as widely used. Like obviously most people that are using a Switch are using Joy-Con or a Pro Controller. Most of the Pro Controller players are, happy with the system that they're doing. They usually don't have a PC, but cross-play and cross-purchase or just having access to that content through Steam makes sense that the Xbox controller is kind of the best controller to be using.
Matt Valdez saying he's one of the people that moved from Xbox into the PC state. Jose from the Nerd Chat saying something similar. I know Bacon from the Nerd Chat is among that realm. A lot of people just make that natural transition. And I wonder if it's an age up thing or like they just enjoy like the chase of improved performances across, a couple different metrics. I've always been attracted to the lack of need to worry about that stuff, and you just buy it and it works, which consoles aren't quite like that anymore, but I'm still stuck on that idea process.
The Greg Miller mindset. I understand.
Yeah, actually, oddly enough, that's
No,
exactly what it is. I just want it to work. And I love when I can turn my brain off for things because my brain is on for so many that when I can turn them off, I have more fun. I'm coaching this summer with the high school kids. Well, the high school coach is handling most of it. I just go out and play soccer. I'm enjoying that. When I turn on my Xbox, I'm just playing. I'm not worried about like things working, not working. And so that is why I take that route for myself. I'm curious, do you guys think like Design Lab or the availability of Xbox controllers is a factor for this? Or is that just kind of a not a wishful thinking, but like just, no, that's not really it?
I don't think so, because I think that the Design Lab is something that really kind of speaks to the consumer fan base, like the Xbox fans who go in and really want to customize their control. Like the controller is the central piece to it's kind of like the bling for their console, right? Like we got those wraps that died, nobody ever cared about them, and I knew that was going to be the case long when they announced it. But
hey, calm it down, PSVR 2 owner.
Makes me so sad. I just want to have a good VR experience with appropriate first party content. Why can't I throw an axe yet?
You will not.
What was I talking about? I blanked out there. I
don't know. I
went-
don't know. I
just-
made fun of your PSVR 2, and that's
I
where I
know.
locked in.
I'm in a fugue state or something. I don't know. Sorry. Am I drooling? God.
Little.
No, I think that a lot of Xbox fans are the ones that are mostly jumping into the design lab because they want to have like their centerpiece on the coffee table, you know, neck on the nightstand or something, you know, that is, it speaks to them. It's theirs, their player one kind of thing. PC players, I see it much more as a, this is the thing that works the most appropriately with the games that I'm going to be playing. And I want to have a more casual experience as opposed to the Greg Miller described hunched over goblin with the light of the monitor, you know, burning their face kind of thing.
You really are sending the best friends after us this week.
That's fine. I'm speaking to Greg Miller's like own words. So
Greg was very nice to me at a Summer Game Fest and whatnot.
He's a good guy.
He was very nice.
He knows how to run a business.
He does. He does. Dave, would you like to weigh in on this goblin approach that Logan has?
I agree with him.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I think he's spot on, and you know, I have my own designed controller that's all purple, everything purple except for the buttons. I like the color layout, and then got Web Dave on there. So there you go.
There you go.
It's
nice.
fine.
Nice. Chat, let us know what it is you guys have been playing, whether you're on Twitter or on YouTube. Let me know what you've been playing lately. I booted up Lords of the Fallen on cloud recently and then transitioned over into console. That's a really good game that I think is underrepresented, but I really do like it. Exceptionally good game. I'm finding I don't have the patience right now, which is just a mood thing. And so I switched over to a game that has been in my backlog for a while. Stick with me. Sniper Ghost Warrior Contracts 2, which I love the sniper games. I've always loved those games. And it's really good. Right? I think so. I think so. But I've always loved the sniper games where they go into slow-mo and stuff. And I'm on Contracts 2 and I'm really enjoying it. I put it on easy and I just like to feel cool and do some cool sniping. But I'm having a blast. You know, it's been really fun. And so that's what I've been jumping into, apart from my regular COD and Fortnite nights. My boy Suddy is healthy again, so we're getting in sessions with him. I know we want to play Sea of Thieves. We've been talking about that for a bit. We're going to jump back on the seas soon, hopefully tonight actually. But yeah, just I've been doing some good gaming with friends. How about you guys? What have you been playing?
Dave?
Oh well, more Power World, lots of Power World. I'm digging the updates. Yep, I do like that.
Is that like from the get-go that you've been playing, or just recently jumped in?
Oh no, from day one. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah, my kids are big fans of Pokemon, and so I was like, hey, check this out. And they're like, it's okay. And my son plays it more than my daughter, but it's you know, I like it's so cool. Whip out a gun and just start shooting, blowing up stuff. And it's nice. And fun building aspects and stuff, and the bosses and the boss fights and stuff are pretty cool. I don't know, just enjoy it. That's what I've been playing mostly.
I see Gentle Stone is playing or is excited to play Still Wakes the Deep. That's on my list to play this weekend. I just finished the Alan Wake DLC, which was really good. It got me in a horror mood, and now I'm thinking Still Wakes the Deep is going to be my next one. Logan, you've been gaming you've been apart from gaming lately, just taking a break.
Yeah. And this is it all ties into like the balance of life and everything that I've been going through. So I genuinely have not really booted up my consoles very much at all. I will say the one game that I always go back to, that's like just it's the shepherd's pie for gaming for me. Is Heroes of the Storm. And doesn't matter what kind of day I'm having, doesn't matter if it's a good day, if it's a bad day, if it's an outdoor day, I can always come home and boot up Heroes of the Storm and drop in for a couple quick matches and get that satisfaction, that dopamine hit of playing a video game that I know so well that I don't have to really like mentally engage with it. I don't have to be in the right mindset. I don't have to like, it's
turn off your brain.
Yeah. It's kind of like jumping into Halo multiplayer and just like knocking out a few rounds of oddball or something. You know, it's like you know what's going to be expected, and you don't have that like that kind of worry. And so that's really realistically all I've really been doing. Almost every single night, I've been going out, hitting the gym, going to do something. Like I went out to like the river the other night just to go hang out on the bluffs. It was just a really nice night. It was really beautiful. It's summertime, so I've been spending a lot more time out at the pool as well too. So that's realistically like just the thing. I'm looking forward to when my brain will let me click back into video games, because we've had so many really good ones lately, and there's so many that are on Game Pass that I want to try out. But every time I sit down, turn on the computer or turn on the TV and boot up the console, I'm just like, nope, I got to do something active.
That's a normal thing. A lot of people go through that, you know, whether they're in rough times or not.
I think
I'm curious to know what game does bring you back. That's something
I am too, actually, because like legit, Lords of the Fallen is my vibe. Aside from like the actual like Dark Souls kind of Souls elements to it, but I genuinely want to check out that world and just kind of and look into it. But then again, like, you know, we've been talking about Hellblade 2. I still haven't jumped into Hellblade 2 because I haven't finished Hellblade 1, and I almost just want to jump into Hellblade 2 just to say F it and you know, actually go and experience that. But
you should.
I know that's going to be like an emotional roller coaster as well too. So I've just been having a hard time actually like finding something that I want to jump into and actually like just enjoy, because I have yet to actually like find something that I feel comfortable with. And that's a weird thing for me to say. Weird thing for me to actually say. I don't know.
Chat, drop some suggestions in for Logan for when he's ready, and then if you're watching on VOD, put them in the comments, just because I'm curious what brings you back, because you won't know. Like, it'll just click, it'll happen. You know what I mean? Nerd Chat, Jose asking me how long the Alan Wake DLC was for me. Probably about 4 hours, and I went slow for all 3 episodes. They were all 45 minutes to an hour 10, depending. I really liked 2 of the episodes. One I was kind of iffy on, but they're Night Springs episodes, so they're Twilight Zone. They're not 100% canon, but they are canon. It's Sam Lake doing what Sam Lake does. But I love Alan Wake, and so it was fun to be in there and see Jesse Faden from Control, which is one of my favorite games of all time, for sure.
Nice.
Split End 89, David Burdett saying, I just finished my last of his review pile after getting back from SGF, and he's happy to have a break. Totally get that. I actually just I just got the Arctis Nova Pro wireless headset, which I'm anxious to be putting through its paces. I'm going to put some time in on. They sent it to me for review, so they Steel Series sent it over. I'm going to be putting some time in with that headset and then doing a review for the channel, similar to how I did the Turtle Beach headset review, which is on the channel right now. And I sent that, by the way, to Kevin Ainsworth from, oh my gosh, Project X Talk. I'm losing my words here. Project X Talk. Once I was done with that one, this one I'll probably be keeping, because I love Arctis typically by nature. So I'm anxious to put this one through its paces. And then I got the PDP Rock Band Riffmaster guitar. My wife and I have been playing Rock Band the last few days, which has been a blast. I am terrible at music games, but it's been really fun. And that PDP controller is very good.
Is it? It looks amazing, man. Makes me wish I had my old BC Rich Warlock. Is that like an acrylic red one that was beautiful? But I saw that and I was like, oh God, I kind of miss my axe.
I got it because my wife loved Rock Band, but her apparently, and she and I have been together for a long time now. I don't know the years. Don't ask me.
Is it 11? But is 11 with 30 going on 30?
Okay. No trauma dump. It is not. But apparently her ex did not let her play Rock Band back in the day. She was like, she would have it and he would just hog it. Okay, Web Dave, let's go. Let's go.
All right, let me just grab my.
Do it. I love it.
Grab my bananas right now. Don't mind me. I'll just sit here. No, continue on, Luke. Go ahead. Where's your cute little controller? Where's your cute little guitar controller? You want to go get it?
No, I do not. Audio listeners, Dave and Logan are having a moment here, showing off their awesome musical instruments.
My drums right there too. So.
Yeah, you do. I do.
Let's do it.
I can't do drums. You just need a bass player, Luke.
Don't ask me. I have no rhythm.
Can you see right there? There's my Jackson bass right there.
My wife
Yes,
jokes
that's
on
the
me
name for it. Yep.
because I can't hear music. Like she says my tism rhythm is terrible, which I think is a hilarious way to say it. Because for some reason that's where I can't hear. Like I'm all like structured and everything except for music. I just can't hear it. So
Luke, there's so many jokes, but I'll refrain.
that's fair. That's fair.
So-
I got to tell you, it's nothing worse than what Logan and my crew tells me. So don't worry. Don't worry. Don't worry. But yeah, that's what I got going on right now, and I'm enjoying just the downtime. Summer is a good time to play catch up. You know,
Yep.
it's a good time to play catch up. Dave got that mine is bigger than yours energy. Bark cute. Nice.
Put your eye out. Anyway, I'm
There
sorry.
you
What was that?
All right, guys.
Excuse me while I whip this out. Anyway, no. What?
Go ahead and Dave, let people know where they can find your content and what you got going on, man.
Well, I'll drop it in there for you, and you can cut and paste it in the chat if you'd like. But yeah, Gamers Council is going to be tomorrow night. Hopefully, we'll have you actually try and get you both on sometime in the future.
Absolutely.
Love to have you both on. We sometimes we do like team ups and get the whole quote unquote podcast crew. And we're gonna have we've had the Longhouse podcast on recently. We've had C Money and Doodle on, before, like they're both of them on at the same time kind of thing. And sometimes it's you see it feels more comfortable, like friends just gathering together and talking games instead of just digging in deep stuff too. So but this coming tomorrow night at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time is the Gamers Council. Retri will be back. I just talked to him earlier today, and he will be back on the show. It took a week off, but he's going to be back this week. And then we've got let's see, just to throw out confirmed guest are Tony from the Plume Network, Mav from Fun Speculation, and Kevin. I'm going to butcher his last name. Korkenstein. He's going to be a guest as well. So it's going to be a big show. And Kevin will be his first time on the show. So looking forward to that. And but yeah, come talk games with us.
Very cool. And
Thanks for having me, man. I really appreciate it.
Oh, absolutely. It's become a staple in my Sunday evenings. Like I do bitcasts in the midday time. I jump over to Iron Lords, but I can't survive for 8 hours at a time. They're just they're crazy. And then I enjoy Outbreak in the evenings. So that's awesome. Very cool. Very cool. Logan, I don't know if you're muted, but you might have to unmute because I know you're playing your guitar. Let people know what they can look forward to Keelhauled wise and how they can be continuously supportive of you.
So Keelhauled, we're going to be doing our patron episode this week. It'll be the first episode with the patrons since May at this point. And we're going to be talking about some of the changes that came in with season 12, because there was a lot of cool stuff that came in with season 12. But as with, a lot of seasons and games that are live services, there's always that kind of like slow decline as things don't get quite as cool or interesting. That honeymoon phase wears off. So you kind of like wonder, how's the longevity of this season going to be? Are people still engaging with it? But we've also got 2 conventions, the SOT Fest in England and also the Fest of Legends in North America, where we're going to have like 2 Sea of Thieves specific things going on next month. And I kind of want to get a gauge on them on like how that's going to be, what people are looking forward to, the panels that are going to be happening and stuff. So I'm looking forward to talking to them about that and just kind of getting a vibe check on them, see if they're excited for next month. At the end of the month, they're doing season 13, where we're going to get the big ship with Flameheart and all that good jazz. So going to be doing that. That'll be coming out this weekend, if not Monday. And just kind of playing Sea of Thieves, if I can jump in with them for a little bit and just actually try and spend some time with folks on games, because it's been really tough to feel like I'm getting into lately.
Yeah. Take your time on that stuff too.
And it'll help you too, man. Get with some friends in a game. That'll help. It'll help put things in perspective.
Yeah, I've been avoiding my boys every day, because it just I feel like I I want to, but I don't feel like I can really contribute. And I know, Luke, I know you're gonna give me shit. You know, you're gonna give me for this later on, but I want to get back in when I feel like more like me, and I just haven't felt like me for a while. So I'm still trying to work on that.
Totally understandable, dude. I know I don't know you that well, but I'll tell you one thing is that you being there with your friends understand, and if you're there and you, even if it's just you're participating because you're there, that's gonna go a long way to helping you, because you'll get to hear them and interact, and you just interact when you want to. They're not gonna expect you to be the best game, man. You don't have to be. Just be you and know your friends love you, and that's all that matters.
Yeah. So maybe I'll jump in voice chat more often than Luke.
Take your time. You take your time, man.
I know.
Always. Listeners, I want to say, if you are a patron or channel member, you have access to our Discord, and that means you can jump in on our monthly Discord community channel. And so I hope you take advantage of that. YouTube channel members, it should give you a link, but if it doesn't, please email me or message me, DM me, and I'll get you one. It should work. It has been working, but sometimes it's finicky. But we're doing our community episode this upcoming week. I don't know which day, Monday or Tuesday, so we're gonna figure that one out in the Discord. So please feel free to jump over there. Big thank you to Web Dave for joining us. Web Dave for becoming a channel member. Web Dave for the super chat. Really appreciate you. Addy Dotun for the super chat. Matt Valdez for gifting 10 memberships. So appreciate you. And Addy Zero spotlighting his 2-month membership. You guys are awesome. Thank you to everybody for supporting the show, for hanging out with us. And I hope you have a great rest of your week. Take care, everyone.